For Sketchtober this year, in 2024, I decided to start an art journal. Art journaling is something I've been wanting to try for quite a while, and today I'll fill out the first page. I'm glad to have you with me. My name is Alex, I'm a professional artist, and on my channel I share my art, my process, my thoughts about creativity, and tutorials to help you grow your own artistic skills. The idea I had for my art journal was to draw 4 simple icons representing 4 things I'd done that day, even if it was just unexciting, mundane tasks. The reason I chose to do this was that I wanted to create something physical that I could hold in my hands and help me remember those little insignificant moments that I would have otherwise forgotten. Sometimes I feel like those ordinary, mundane days blend together. Most of us live pretty busy lives, and we have our routines that we go through over and over, and when we look back on those days, those days between the major memorable events, it can be hard to remember what we actually did and where all that time went. This art journal, I hoped, would make those insignificant days a little bit more significant and memorable for myself to look back on in the future. Contrary to the Sketchtober tradition, I actually didn't go into the challenge committed to doing the full month. Instead, I went in with the mindset that I was only going to try art journaling for 1 week, or however long I felt like it. And if I didn't enjoy it, I could just quit at any point, even before the first week was over. Because there's just no point in trying to force yourself to do an art challenge like this if it just isn't working for you. Something I've learned over the years is that as an artist, it's crucial to learn how you and your creativity work and find a way to work with your nature instead of against it. These long or very intense art challenges are generally not something that I enjoy or even get much out of. I've tried doing a few of them in the past, and although I feel like they can be fun and exciting as a concept, and even for a time into the challenge, I also feel that they always become tedious before too long, and they start to feel more like a chore than anything else. Looking back at some of these challenges that I've done, I actually question what kind of value they've provided me. When I was an art student, for example, I studied comic art. And as part of the comic art education, we did something called the 24-hour comic challenge. The idea is that you have 24 hours to create a 24-page long comic from scratch, which means you essentially have 1 hour per page to write the script, sketch the page, and ink it. That's very little time for each step. And take into account that you'll need to take breaks to eat several times during this challenge too. You get the picture. It's really, really intense. And it's actually kind of wild to me when I think back on it, to have this kind of challenge as part of an education. I really couldn't recommend doing this particular challenge to anyone. It's just not worth the strain on your brain and body. And the comic I produced? Well, it's about what you can expect from an exhausted, sleep-deprived art student. It's not exactly going into my portfolio. Either way, I'm sure some people might feel that these art challenges provide them with real value and motivate them to get off the couch and get creative, and that's a good thing. But personally, I don't work that way. I pretty much always have a steady flow of ideas and a long row of creative projects lined up. But I have noticed that these art challenges can actually burn me out creatively, whereas normally that wouldn't be an issue. If you have a similar experience or just a gut feeling about doing these kinds of art challenges yourself, I would really encourage you to pay attention to how you really feel about them. And I don't mean that you shouldn't try it if you're curious and excited about one of these challenges, but maybe ask yourself why you're doing it and why it has to be in this exact format and with this precise deadline. It's probably not a good use of your time and energy if you feel like you need to force yourself through the challenge, especially if it's taking a heavy toll on your mental and physical health. So that's why I have this very relaxed and no pressure kind of mindset around doing these art challenges. It's just not worth it to me if you're putting a ton of pressure on yourself and burning out in the process. But if you do feel like you really want to do one of these art challenges, then please take care and go easy on yourself. What I can say about my art journaling so far is that I did enjoy filling out this first page, but if this page is all I end up doing, then that's okay too. In my next video, I will show you how the challenge actually turns out for me and share my takeaways. Before we end this video, I just wanted to show you the drawings up close. As you might guess, I did a fair amount of carpentry that day. I drew my drill and my sanding machine and some screws and a corner bracket too. The last drawing is a magical spell jar and it represents what I did for work. I created this gorgeous little UI icon for a mobile game. Thank you for spending time with me today. If you enjoyed this video, then please take a moment to give it a like and subscribe to my channel. Stay creative, and I hope to see you again soon.